So just the past week, I saw Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and I have so many things to say about this movie. And I do want to apologize in advance because recently I contracted a stomach virus, followed by a heavy coughing and sneezing apparatus that has plagued my body because of this movie. Actually, you know what? Truth be told, sickness has been going around California for a couple weeks now, and I just so happened to get it right before Christmas. And I'm not going to blame it all entirely on this film. Fucking shit, it hurts really. But you guys are probably wondering what I thought of The Last Jedi, because, you know, me being a Star Wars fan, I have a Star Wars Christmas tree in the back, and initially when I first walked out of the theater, I thought it kind of sucked. I thought it was a terrible movie. The movie had inconsistent themes that did not complement the narrative all too well. There was bad writing choices when it came to the character decisions, the humor, world building / continuation, and overall it just didn't feel like a Star Wars movie, but it seemed like it was falling into the formula of it being a Marvel movie. So those were my initial thoughts. Okay, they're done, they're out of the way. So, me being the curious cat that I am, I decided to go on social media and was like, well, what else do people think of The Last Jedi? And I was shocked, to be honest, because what I found to be is like the beginning of the fan divide. And I find it super interesting because there's just a huge variety of people loving it and hating this movie, because Star Wars fans loved and hated this movie. Non-Star Wars fans loved and hated this movie. It's so weird, but that's what's happening right now. Which the way that I view film criticism, especially like we live in a time where we have the internet and we're able to voice our own opinions. If someone doesn't like a movie, then they just don't like a movie. I mean, who knows? Maybe down the line, as the film sits in their mind, it tends to be a little better. And that's happened to me plenty of times for a movie where at first I didn't like it because I would have my valid reasons as to A, B, C, and D, until someone else who actually liked the movie will come up and say, hey, you know what, maybe rewatch the movie because there's also A, B, C, and D. And then it made me kind of reconsider if I was watching the same movie as that same person. And then I would rewatch it and then I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not as bad. And then I look at the movie in a different light now. I was one of those people who said, yeah, The Last Jedi kind of sucked. And I had my valid reasons, but I wasn't one of those people that was like, Disney ruined Star Wars in my childhood. Which, to those people who are doing that, I say, relax. It's a movie. It's a fucking movie. Because look, I'm all about Star Wars being a big part of your life, and it's a big part of my life too, but I don't let it dictate who I am. I don't let my whole life be just Star Wars. Surprisingly enough, there's more to life than just Star Wars and, you know, the franchise that you just so hold dear to your heart. I mean, was I bummed that the movie kind of sucked? I mean, yeah, of course, but I'm not gonna throw an online petition saying Disney needs to remove this movie from canon and Star Wars fans join me. No, I'm not gonna do, like, fuck off. You think I'm gonna have that sort of time to throw a meaningless petition to Disney where they're just like, yeah, fuck you too? They're seriously laughing their asses off right now because of that petition. Yeah, you know what? Good luck trying to convince a multi-billion-dollar company to take off a movie that is also from a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Because you think Disney is gonna be like, oh, you know what? Fuck, this guy threw up the petition, we need to take this movie off of canon. They're not gonna do that. And do you think that it's in any way civil that the Star Wars Twitter account tweeted a birthday message to Rian Johnson, also the week of his new movie coming out, only for it to be bombarded with angry fans saying that he ruined Star Wars, and him possibly getting death threats in his DMs? Like, are you that fucking hurt to send death threats to a film director who has made a movie? Like, that has nothing, his birthday has nothing to do with the movie, yet you're going out of your way to send him just nasty shit, like, really, over a fucking movie. Imagine him being with his friends and he's having a good time, and then he's just getting notifications of people saying they want to kill him. Like, come on, seriously. You probably just ruined his fucking birthday. Actually, you know what, Rian Johnson, if you see any of them, which you probably did get some, not from me, but I hope you laugh in their faces, and if you do, good job. So to the people saying that The Last Jedi ruined their childhood and Star Wars, no it didn't, because you have 7 other Star Wars movies to watch. So one movie isn't going to completely ruin the franchise. It's just not. It's time to move on and just let go, which weirdly enough, that's one of the themes in The Last Jedi. And stop harassing Rian Johnson over Twitter because, you know, people like you are really giving Star Wars fans a bad name. It's like people are gonna view us more as being a cancerous fan base, which at times it can be cancer, and you're not helping that at all. Now, if you're one of those people who actually like the movie, awesome. You know what? I'm so glad that you had a great time watching this movie and that you liked it, because it's part of going to the movie. It's about having fun. If you're one of those people who's like, yeah, you know what? The Last Jedi isn't perfect, but goddamn, I had a great time. You're seriously one of the best people on the internet right now. Because on that same exact side of, like, where people like the movie, they sometimes like to jump to conclusions saying that, wow, Star Wars fanboys didn't like the movie because it debunked their fan theories and it wasn't the Star Wars movie that they expected. Which you're no different than those angry Star Wars fans on Twitter right now. Because you're basically making assumptions about a fan base that if you see a couple of them react in this sort of way, you think that the whole fan base reacts in the same exact way, which in reality, they don't. And upon hearing the reasons why people like the movie, I reconsidered, you know what, maybe The Last Jedi isn't too bad. Maybe them approaching the Star Wars universe in a different way could have been the best thing that this movie could have done. Because imagine getting the same movie like over and over and over for like the next 20 years, like when Disney has a hold of Star Wars. I would get absolutely sick of it. Admittedly, like, this movie was different, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna be good. Different doesn't always mean good. Now, is it good for the future of the franchise? I absolutely think so, because it gives a future for like the upcoming filmmakers to make their own Star Wars movie and to deviate from the original Star Wars formula and see how they take on the Star Wars universe. I think that's great. I think that's going to influence more filmmakers to go out and make their own thing. And it's going to give the universe such a breath of fresh air. And are all these original movies going to be good? I mean, no. But there will be some good ones out there. Now, if I say that The Last Jedi kind of sucked, which I still kind of think so, like, oh, The Last Jedi sucked. And if you're one of those people that say, well, you're just mad because it debunked your fan theory and you're just a clueless fanboy, you know what, to you, I say, fuck off. What an absolute horrible thing that I didn't like a movie that just so happened to be a part of a franchise that I just so happen to really love. Like, what a horrible thing to do. In fact, I kind of like how the movie threw that in the fans' face, like all those fan theories, they were just debunked. Like the whole Snoke thing, those fan theories were getting way too out of control. Some of them were going like, Snoke is like comic book issue number 25 and it has this character that no one ever knows, but I do. That character is Snoke. And it's like, good God, relax. That's not the reason why I didn't like this movie. The reason why is because right here, I'll leave the timestamp. This is exactly, in case if you missed it. I just don't like bad storytelling. The storytelling and the writing, I just didn't think it was all that great. But then you're gonna turn around and say, well, you're just a Star Wars fanboy who just doesn't want to accept change, and stop. So here's a little bit of a thing to help everybody out. You know, let's all listen to each other for once. Sure, there are gonna be some things where we just disagree with our peers, but you know, let's have a civil discussion about it, not have a full-on bloodbath and trying to prove this other person wrong over a fucking movie. And if you have an opinion, it's okay to change it. I don't know, maybe I'll like The Last Jedi later down the line. Opinions change all the time. And who knows, maybe you'll learn something that you didn't know before. That's the whole part of filmmaking. Let's not make death threats to the film directors. Let's not make assumptions over fan bases, and let's all just fucking be civil for once. It's not like Rian Johnson completely ruined your world and all of creation over a movie. No, it didn't. And it's not like all the fans are exactly the same because you see a couple fans reacting in a nasty sort of way. Because that's not true. And, oh god, I got a headache from all this shit because nobody says this, and I'm saying it now. So that's all I have to say. But I should be having a video coming out pretty soon where I will have the spoiler review of The Last Jedi, and I will give a couple points as to, you know, what makes the movie, No, that sounds dumb. I'll give a spoiler review, basically. But I'll have my dad on there. If you guys want to see the cheesy 70s mustache guy, it's my dad. So, we're going to talk about the movie. That's going to be coming very soon as I'm done being sick, because he doesn't want to get infected. I mean, he's personally told me, and he's kind of kept me away from him. So that should be a lot of fun, and yeah, that's about it. See you guys next time.